Good, good.
Obviously, the Mystics are in town tonight. What kind of threats do they present to you guys?
What's that?
So the Mystics are in town
Yep.
tonight. What threats do they present to you guys?
Yeah, obviously in our first three games, we've seen Vegas twice, so it's a little bit different style. You know, it's a new team in the Mystics. Just the way that they're playing, their staff has them really moving that ball side to side. You know, they're going to give us some different looks than we've seen in the first three games. And, you know, they shoot a lot of threes just like we do. So we're going to have to defend that 3-point line.
Coach Brandon, on Tuesday, a lot of post split action with Natasha making reads out of the post.
Yep.
What is it about that you
like? Just she's making, well, I guess which Natasha? Okay. Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, you're all right. Yeah, I mean, she's filling the stats with blocks, rebounds. She's really passing the ball. I think she's kind of found her way with the starting group. She is not worried about scoring. She goes to score when she has to, but she's a really good passer. And you know, when she gets the ball, I think people are willing to cut because they know that she is a good passer and she'll look to find them. So that's something that we'll continue to build on as, you know, we learn what she can do, and she is showing us what she can do.
You have a lot of veterans on your team. Does that make it easier to kind of turn the page quickly after what feels like a pretty big win the other night?
I hope so. Yeah. You know, this league, you got to keep moving. You got to keep moving. I don't think that our group was surprised by the win, you know, especially after playing them as well as we did in game one. Yeah, there wasn't too much talk about Vegas yesterday or today. The focus has been on the Mystics, and I think that's the way it should be.
There's a lot of emotion.
Thank you.
You just talk about, is there like a sense of more drive when you play against a former team?
I would guess so. You know, the teams that I've been fired by or been let go, you know, you always look forward to playing that team. So just knowing Cloud and her personality, she's probably had this one circle on her on her schedule. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think it's human nature, right? And so I'm sure, you know, she brings 10 out of 10 energy every night, and I wouldn't expect it to be any less. I don't know if you can get to 11 if you're her, but it might be close. Yeah, it's the same as it's been. It's you know, in the next coming weeks they'll continue to reevaluate it, and I know she's been working hard. Like I said, I feel bad for the fact that she had a great offseason. It's killing her to not to be out there, especially with, you know, the energy and the vibe kind of that we got going. But I trust our medical staff. She trusts our medical staff, and when she's ready, she'll be ready. I am not a medical professional, so I don't know for sure. Yeah.
Is there anything that you've learned about either her game or her personality that surprised you or has been unexpected?
You know, I'll say this. I've said it a little bit. When I got the job, Nick gave me 3 or 4 point guard edits to watch, and she was the 3rd edit that I got to, and it took about 3 clips, and I said, yeah, that's the one that we need. And so there's a lot to like. You know, you never really know until you're around someone every day. But I've just been extremely impressed with how smart she is as a basketball player. Her feel for the game. I mean, I don't even want to talk about like the competitive spirit and what she can do defensively, and hopefully all of us are seeing that on our own. But just the day-to-day like feel she kind of reminds me of the old school point guard that's pass first and how can I get my teammates involved. And that's refreshing, not only for a coach, but also for her teammates.
And coach, obviously, she's had kind of rough shooting the last 2 games. What kind of ways can you maybe get her going?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I'm not worried about is DT's shooting. You know, teams are gonna make her work. You know, we have to do a better job of moving her around. I've kind of told the team, you know, we've stressed so much like concepts and spacing, and I think our half court execution will get better as we continue to grow. But we've talked so much about like shot profile and how we want to play, and so you know, ATOs, start of games, coming out of half, you know, we have to do a better job of moving her around because she's you know, she's still very high on everybody's scouting report. You know, she had a tough shooting night against Atlanta, but you know, those 4 or 5 possessions that Ka scored down the stretch, it was her setting the screen and they didn't want to leave DT. And so that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but we see the value in her shooting and how much they're trying to take it away.
We're gonna go to Justin on Zoom.
Hey, coach. Time and time again, you've mentioned how you want your team to shoot 35 to 43s a game. And through 3 games, you guys have been the best volume shooting team in the league by a pretty wide margin. 40% from 3 in a league high 30 attempts is not an easy feat. So, given the small sample size, what is the next steps towards sustaining this level of play throughout a long season?
Well, I'm sure that the players get tired of me talking about too many mid-range shots. So we could get a couple more, but that's going to take time. And, you know, we've got veterans that have been around and shot certain shots throughout their career, and I don't want to completely take that away from them. But I would say there's 3 to 5 to 7 more threes a game that we can find. And, you know, we're not going to change in the first week. It may not be till game 10, but just because, you know, the mentality is to shoot, it's going to open up driving lanes and things like that for us. So we're going to continue to stress on it, watch film. Our staff does a great job individually watching clips with our players and just educating them on how we want to attack. So I think we're off to a good start, but I think we can be better at it for sure. Awesome. Thank you.
Dunk.
All right, everybody.
Not first, but he's got a lot of basketball terminology.
The one where he's got
The board. Oh my God. I mean, I guess my dad showed that to you. Yeah.
All right, Kareem, do you want to get us started in person?
shall get us started in person. Just overall thoughts of this Phoenix team. You know, they want to play fast and shoot a lot of threes. When you watch them on tape, what really stands out to you?
Probably the things you just said. You know, they're playing fast. They're trying a lot of things defensively. You know, sometimes when you're missing somebody like BG, everybody on the outside goes, "Oh, that's a big loss," and obviously it is. But when you've got some experienced players like they do and skilled players, it allows you to do some different things. So, you know, they've experimented 5 guard lineups, spacing the floor, making you make tough decisions on defense. They're just doing a lot of really smart things with the personnel they have.
Not giving away the game plan, obviously, but, you know, you've talked a lot about also wanting to play with pace and getting a lot of shots up on the perimeter. Do you look like, hey, okay, let's run with them, or do you look at it from another perspective of it's a little bit dangerous to get into a sprinting match against them?
I think in situations like that, you have to play what suits you best. Like we can't walk it up and slow it down. We're not going to have good offense. So we've got to play with enough pace to get ourselves going. You know, I think the way you can control a game like this is you gotta make your advantages tell. You know, we're going to play, I'll just say like traditional bigs more than they are. So we got to dominate the glass. And we got to defend the paint. And we got to try to get some extra points on the other end on second chance points. And we got to take care of the ball. Like we got to, you know, make a turnover difference count. They do a good job taking care of it. We got to take care of it. And, you know, you can't get bogged down trying to pick on mismatches because they're small. Like they know they're small. They're gonna come double. They're gonna zone. They're gonna do all this different stuff. So you just got to kind of stick to the things you do well and try to execute your stuff, and then be great in transition defense and take care of the boards.
Before I forget, status for Shakira.
Good to go.
Eric, talk a bit about the challenges you've had this year. Lost a lot of players from last year's team. It's kind of a new team, even though there's a handful, maybe 4 or 5 kids that are back. But and you've had some injuries already too. So talk about the challenges you've had with the new team coming in.
I think the challenges have just been, you know, finding a consistent offensive rhythm. It doesn't help that, you know, we lose, as you said, you know, we lose Slim in game number 2, 5 minutes in. You know, it just doesn't help. It's not an excuse. It just is reality. But I think we've defended, you know, pretty well and probably better as we've gone. Like I thought we played a good defensive game the other night. We got to make some layups. We got to make some open shots. We got to have, you know, you haven't been part of the rotating Mystics media, so the fourth quarters has been a hot topic, and we got to have better possessions early in the fourth quarter. So those are the challenges. You know, I really like our group. I like how hard we're competing, and we just, you know, got to do a few things better to get over the hump.
How has Dolson changed coming in?
She gives us a big, just with real feel. She can shoot the ball, obviously, but her feel for timing and passing and her ability to talk defensively, it's just, you know, given us a dimension we really need.
Jen?
Hey, Eric, is Dee Dee also good to go?
Good question. As far as I know, good to go. She went through shoot around this morning. So unless something has changed since we got to the arena, she's good to go.
Any update on Slim, or, you know, how much she's able to do at this point?
No, she has not. She didn't go through shoot around. She's been able to do more off the court stuff. And so hopefully we're, you know, I think we're still on the right track. Just a matter of timing. It's hard when you got all these travel days too.
Yeah, I'm sure. You know, not asking you to go too deep into the scout here, but just at a high level, you know, looking at what Kalia Copper's been up to lately, scoring the ball. How do you kind of approach that and trying to slow her down?
I think Becky said it after their game the other night against them, like some point you can't let her drive right to the rim a bunch of times and put her at the free throw line. So making sure she, you know, they run good stuff for her to get advantages to drive, make sure we know where we want to send her, where our help's coming from, which hand is her right hand. And then she's making shots. I mean, she's making tough, hard shots. So you just got to try to cool her off a little bit.
Last one for me real quick. With Aaliyah, you know, you and several others have talked about, you know, how quick of a learner she is, how quickly she picks things up. I'm wondering if there's an example that comes to mind for you lately, you know, maybe in a game or whatever, of some feedback you gave her that she's, you know, implemented really quickly.
Well, pregame the other day, I can't remember if it was at shoot around or right before the game, I'd mentioned a possible adjustment, you know, that we would make in pick and roll defense. And in the middle of the game, she literally asked me in the huddle, "Hey, do we want, like, is this something you want me to do?" And bang, made the change, got out there, did it, forced a couple turnovers. I'm like, that's not bad for a rookie right there. You know, just to one, have the recall and then be able to execute in big situations. That's pretty rare.
I had one more.
Megan? Oh,
Sorry, we got one more in the room here, Kets.
Natasha Cloud.
Oh yeah, Tosh. I mean, I got nothing but praise for Tosh. I mean, we had 9 years and 8 seasons together. I got to be, you know, a part of that journey the whole way for her. She means a lot to our fans, to our city, to coaches and teammates. She's had, obviously, you know, the best point guard career of anybody that's come through the Mystics. And so I'm sure when she gets back to DC, she'll be celebrated properly.
Megan?
Hey, Eric, just confirming, you said Shakira and Didi are both good to go?
Yes.
And then you had touched on it a little bit. The 3-point shooting, is it just shots not falling because some of the looks you're getting are great, or is it maybe just making that extra pass to get an even better look with regards to the way that things have gone?
Both. I mean, we've watched examples of where we think there's a chance to get, we call them good to greats. We have an advantage. Can we make it tell for a little bit better shot? But, also we watched the game back, and I think we had, a couple of our best shooters with some looks that I'm confident they'll knock down, and some is just finding the rhythm early in the season. So honestly, I keep an eye on our attempts as probably as much as anything, because that's usually a kind of a symptom of the offense working well.
And then how have you liked the chemistry with Slim out of the lineup that Julie has begun to try and figure out where, teammates like to get the ball in their shooter's pocket, or if it's on the move, trying to get it to Shakira?
Yeah, she keeps growing in terms of learning quickly. I've said it a couple times, like learning quickly which passes she can throw and which ones she can't throw. I think teams are going to make her prove that she can score. I was glad to see her be aggressive shooting the ball the other night. And if I was a teammate, I'd like playing with her. So I think from that standpoint, the chemistry is pretty good.
Thank you. Good luck tonight.
Thanks. That's all.
Thanks, everybody. See you post game.
You were talking about attempts, 30 to 32?